Hey, how the hell are you? Mitchell Lea, Tommy Grant, Brandon too. We're here to talk about Weekly Recess with you. I didn't mean to rhyme, but I'm just nasty like that. Actually, I'm a stone cold bitch. So playoffs have started.
Okay, Eminem.
That has to be the best open we've had on this show.
It might be the worst. I don't even know what came over me. Like the spirit of Vanilla Ice's dumbass. Whatever. He's not dead, but playoff time. And guys, I gotta tell you,
Yeah.
It was a set of mediocre games that weren't that exciting to watch. I don't think there's any big upsets other than I don't think any of us were really expecting the Texans to come out on top.
I was gonna say I was pretty upset and
I think that was
surprised.
probably
I was upset that Justin Herbert looked like
I
he
think that was really the only big upset this weekend.
Yeah.
By the way, Tommy, I want a formal apology in writing because he basically called me a bitch for saying that the Commanders and Buccaneers was going to be the best game of the weekend, and without any question, it was the best game of the weekend. So I would like my apology in writing, cursive.
I never disagreed with you. I was simply saying those are two teams I give zero fucks about. So to me, it was not going to be an exciting game to watch.
Well, they made you give those fucks on Sunday night. But we'll go in order with this thing and start off with the one that I was the most surprised with. Yeah. The one that left me the most just like, you got to be kidding me. We're back here again. And that's Texans 32, Chargers 12 in a game where there were some really bad quarterback performances this weekend. I thought Justin Herbert played the worst out of any quarterback.
I mean, I don't even think that's like a discussion.
I think you can debate it. I think there are plenty of people that said, no, pick me, I'm the worst. Justin Herbert, I think, came out first and didn't do his reputation of a playoff choke artist just from one game any favors.
Yeah, can we touch on that a little bit? Because
no one else has.
All of America has talked about how bad he's been in the playoffs. But in retrospect, 2 years ago, he came out and balled out, and they blew a lead, and they lost the game. So he hasn't been that bad in the playoffs. He's just been bad. I would put
that one more on defense and coaching than
right.
And the Chargers weren't really able to run the ball
couple of times in the playoffs, I guess, is my entire point. Now, the whole debate between, because Tommy, if you remember back to picking this game, I said, well, I believe that Justin Herbert is a top 5 QB in the NFL, talent-wise. And, I mean, that's where the debate is at, is he's so talented, he should be this good. It's hypothetical. He's not been that good. That's where that debate should be. It shouldn't be, is Herbert, should Herbert be rostered by the Chargers?
I don't even know if it's
that shouldn't be the conversation.
Stop it, Skip.
I don't know if it's all Herbert's fault, because
it's not. I mean, it's not always fault.
4 interception, which is atrocious.
Some of those picks were bad. Some of them were
if he wasn't throwing that ball to Ladd McConkey, went off.
In the game, he still managed to get 211 passing yards compared to the Texans, who had 261. It's the rushing game where the Chargers...
they didn't have any rushing game.
To be fair, that did not help, because the Chargers built their identity early in the season as J.K. Dobbins is going to run this ball, Gus Edwards is going to run this ball, and then Justin Herbert, we're going to ask him to do a little bit less than he's been doing. And that's when the Chargers were at their best this season. Mm-hmm. People say that Herbert, he threw only 3 interceptions in the regular season and 4 interceptions in this game. It's because they put everything on him in this game. And yes, should have thrown less than 4 interceptions. The Texans defense also, Derek Stingley Jr. and Kamari Lassiter are one hell of a 1-2 punch at corner. Their defensive line was dominant all game long, whether it was Will Anderson, whether it was
Their
Daniil
defense.
Hunter, Fatukasi in the run game, Danico Autry. They were just all over Herbert. And if it wasn't Ladd McConkey, it wasn't happening.
Yeah. Their defense is very talented. I don't know if we've seen them play like that this year, but Derek Stingley.
Not since they played Buffalo. Because remember, they made Josh Allen look horrible earlier this year.
Yeah, so I like the Texans defense. I thought they've had playmakers. Will Anderson, like you said, Stingley is a beast, Mitchell. I mean, but even going back to like the draft process with him, like
I knew it.
Like his
because no one can talk about Stingley without also comparing him to Sauce because they were both top 5 picks. And
that's where I was
getting
at.
If you're going through the first 3 years of their career, Sauce has been better. However, because year 1 and year 2, Sauce better, no questions asked.
I don't think there's better college tape than 2022 Derek Stingley.
It was 2019, weirdly.
2019, yeah, 2019.
Remember, it was his freshman year.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, if this guy could declare, he'd be a top 5 pick now.
As a corner.
In the next 2 years, he was just kind of okay.
That's what I was getting at.
All right, which one are we going with? And I liked Sauce better coming out because the tape was high level more consistently. But year 3,
and Sauce is good. I mean, Sauce is good.
No, Sauce is a top 5 corner in the league. Derek Stingley is too, however, and I think year 3 Stingley was unequivocally the better cornerback. So this is going to be one hell of a battle moving forward, kind of like Kuechly and Wagner when they were both coming out, except they both got off to hotter starts, whereas Stingley kind of needed a year and a half to really ramp up to where they were at, and hopefully they can both stay healthy, unlike Luke Kuechly was able to.
Kind of like Tommy pointed out earlier, that like Herbert was bad, but he wasn't like that bad. It was the problem.
I thought he was that bad.
I mean, the problem is that they put all of this on him, and they were like, "Go win a game," and he just didn't do it. He didn't perform, like whatever. The question I was going to ask, and maybe this is like even towards you, Tommy, like, because I think I know where Mitchell's going with this. CJ Stroud, like, how do we feel about it? Because I don't love it either. Like he hung in there, he played well.
When you say you don't love it, what do you mean?
I just don't for next week for Chiefs Texans. I don't buy Stroud playing well enough for them to win.
I will say this, the Texans...
That's my problem.
The thing that gave me the most concern about the Texans was their offensive line. And in particular, the interior of their offensive line. That kind of matched up well with the Chargers. If they're going to bring pressure at you, it's Khalil Mack, it's Bosa, and they'll bring, like Derwin James or something. They'll blitz linebackers. But they don't have defensive tackles that can win one-on-one battles. They're about to play Chris Jones.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's going to get flipped on its head next week when they play the Chiefs. But I think that this matchup in that aspect was more favorable for them. Gave Stroud a little bit more time to throw. He wasn't fantastic, but I thought he played well.
That's what I was getting at. I thought he hung in there. I thought he hung in there and played well enough to win the game. I just don't know if he can do that against the Chiefs.
It was get the ball to Nico Collins and make things happen early in the game. They got out to enough of a lead where they could just give the ball to Joe Mixon, and Joe Mixon just salted away the game for them. Which is the kind of football they've been wanting to play all season long. That's how they played earlier in the year when they had their full arsenal of guys. They had a healthy offensive line. They had Tank Dell. They had Stephon Diggs. And they would win games late by giving it to Joe Mixon. And it was nice to see the Texans play that style of football again. Mm-hmm. Both of these teams just wanted to play the way they did in September. And the Texans were able to do that, and the Chargers weren't. And that's why the Texans are moving on. The Chargers are going home.
That's fair.
Next up, Steelers and Ravens. Now, this game, one of the things that I laid...
I think it went as well as we thought it was going to go.
Correct.
So-
I ended up taking the Ravens spread because the point that
I
I laid out
redeemed
was...
myself from the Herbert conversation with the Steelers. They just suck conversation. You know,
The point that I made last week was that if you just removed the logos from the team and said Team A versus Team B, watched them play, and said, all right, who's going to win? You go, the purple
who's
team.
going to win by
clearly.
20? Like what do you mean?
No, this isn't going to be close. But you make it Steelers versus Ravens, Tomlin versus Harbaugh, and then people go, I don't know.
Yeah.
It might be close.
Let's not over...
And it wasn't at any point.
Let's not overcomplicate it. Like, the Steelers, like, whatever you believe about Russ and what he's done at the QB position, I mean, I thought it was fair to maybe bring up, like, should they go back to Justin Fields? But the fact that they didn't, like, that doesn't matter. What let them down in this game was their defense. Their defense wasn't good enough, and their defense has been good all year, and it wasn't good enough.
We're not going to win this game. I was hoping they put up a decent fight, which they made a little bit of a comeback in the third quarter, but they were not there. And with the Ravens defense being as good as it is, and you have Lamar Jackson and the Derrick Henry combination. I mean, Derrick Henry is just a beast.
That dude will not age.
That dominated the Steelers defense. I mean, there was no stopping him.
Yeah.
So
I mean, getting back to what you were saying, Brandon.
Mitchell, if you look at like the first part of the game, like they're taking away the read with Henry. They're like diving down, and Lamar's just pulling the ball. He's just running for eight yards a carry, and then they're like, okay, well, but eventually Henry's going to get going. He's going to start running guys over. Like, you can't take away both options. So your defense needs to be good enough, and it just wasn't.
Everyone should have turned this game off at halftime. It was 21-0, and the Steelers aren't going to win a football game that way, especially on the road against a good football team, because Russell Wilson, I think he's done. I just think he is. I don't think Fields is the answer. I don't think the answer is on this team. I think that Russell Wilson was the best option for this particular season because he got a little more out of Pickens than Fields was able to. That moon ball to Pickens was by far their best play on offense when they weren't able to run the ball. And when you're down 21-0 at halftime, you're going to run the ball for 29 yards on 11 carries because you abandon it completely.
Right, you have to get something going. You have to score basically twice just to get yourself back into the game.
And you're not stopping the Ravens. They ran for 299 yards.
Yeah, 299.
Yeah, as opposed to the Steelers who only ran 29 yards. I mean, their run game is
that was just. But I will say this. I don't think the answers are on the roster personnel wise. Like, as much as we give Tomlin like crap and like, oh, like they're just like a playoff team, like 500 and then they're out. Or whatever, people like to discuss about the Steelers. I don't think the player personnel is good enough to compete with the teams like the Ravens, the Eagles, the Lions, the Chiefs. I don't think their roster's good enough. You're kind of hinting at it, Mitchell. The QB isn't on the roster,
No.
and George Pickens. Like, do we actually like George Pickens? I mean, George
Pickens like George Pickens?
I mean, that's a fair question. Like,
the man is always angry. Just
like, it is discussed in meeting rooms throughout the league. How can we get under George Pickens' skins to win a ball game?
Yeah, how can we take him out of the game?
How can we take?
And we're not just talking about like coverages.
We're talking like, what can we say to him, trash talk wise? To get him out of the game. Can
we get this man ejected in the first quarter of the game?
Right.
Because I think that Mike Tomlin's a good head coach.
He can break a game if he's actually on. He can break a game. Like, he can single-handedly win a game for them, and he did that sometimes this season. So
Mike Tomlin's a good head coach. There just comes a point, and it happened with Andy Reid in Philadelphia. There's no shame in it. The message just gets stale, and it's run its course.
Yeah.
And I think that we're at that point with Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh.
That's crazy to think about.
Great coach, but you just kind of keep doing the same thing every single year, or go get a damn quarterback.
Yeah, I don't understand.
You haven't
how
had a
he's
quarterback
been
since
winning
Ben
this much
Roethlisberger.
Yeah,
without a
and
quarterback.
honestly, they
It
haven't
is-
had
it
a
is
spark as
actually
a
wild.
team since Roethlisberger left.
No, yeah,
No.
I agree, Tommy. Like, I don't know how he's been winning games without a QB.
Like, that's when I was a
It is
Steelers fan. Like,
actually
when
crazy.
you had Roethlisberger, Bell, and Brown on a team, like that was a killer team.
He's making the playoffs with Duck Hodges as his QB. Like, nothing against Duck Hodges.
Didn't make the playoffs that year.
Sorry, he didn't make the playoffs that year. But
They were knocked out
He didn't
by
have
the
a
New
winning,
York Jets.
He didn't have a winning record. He didn't have a losing record.
Correct.
They were 500 with Duck Hodges as their QB.
I'm gonna say something that might be a little bit like, there's no way you could possibly be saying that, you doofus. Think they might have given up on Kenny Pickett a year too early?
No, that's fair. I'm not a Pickett guy, but
I'm not a Pickett guy either, but I think that Pickett would have given you something very similar to what you got this year.
Do I think we should give Pickett like the 5-year extension? Like, no. Like,
No.
Absolutely not. But in terms of just like trading him and just like moving on and going to get Russell Wilson and thinking it's going to like be different, like, I don't know. Are they in the market in the draft? Like, they're probably not. They're probably in the free agent QB market. And like, what does that market look like?
They're going to get another Band-Aid. They're going to get...
That's a great way to
get like Andy Dalton or something. They're going to get Daniel Jones.
They keep
and they're just
going to
run it back like that.
But that's the problem, is they keep band-aiding the roster, and they're good enough to make the playoffs, but they're not good enough to actually win a Super Bowl. And that is the problem. That's the real issue in Pittsburgh. And we keep talking about Pittsburgh, and we really should be talking about Baltimore, because
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar is a freak, Mitchell.
Lamar Jackson, everyone said he sucks in the playoffs. He sucks against the Steelers.
Well,
he said, I'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah.
There you go.
His passer rating I think it was the highest it's ever been in the playoffs. Like, he's gotten so much better than everyone else. His processing pre-snap, the way he sees the field now, like, it's like one read and the ball's out. Like, but then he has the ability to extend the play with his legs because he's Lamar Jackson. Like, it's disgusting. Like, he is one of the best QBs on the planet, and it's not even like arguable. Like, he just is. Like, it's crazy.
Going back to that kind of top 5 discussion that you had.
Yeah.
Top 4 is Mahomes 1, and then I think Lamar 2, Allen 3, Burrow 4, and then as far as 5 goes, there's a ton of people that you could talk about, and they all have their own different flaws. I mean, you could bring up someone like Jalen Hurts. Yeah. You could bring up a Justin Herbert, a Dak Prescott. People might we'll get on Jaden Daniels here in a second. People might be ready to have that
CJ
discussion.
Stroud. I mean,
no matter who you bring up, who you bring up, there's going to be a massive argument had at that number 5 spot, and I'll give my 2 cents on it later in the podcast.
I was going to ask, how far do you think the divide is between the 4 best QBs and the 5th best?
I'll return to that later.
Okay.
Because I do have an opinion on that I am planning to get to.
Okay. I appreciate it. I appreciate you.
Put a pin in it for now, but we will return.
Keeping the truck on the road. I appreciate it.
Final AFC wildcard game in Tommy's backyard. Bills 31, Broncos 7. And this was one where Bo Nix hit Troy Franklin down the field early. Broncos get the early lead. It's 10-7 at halftime.
I was texting you guys because I literally...
Yeah, if you're a Broncos fan, after Troy Franklin makes that catch, you're like, oh shit, like, we might win this game.
I had just gotten home, and my apartment complex, all you see down the row is just blue, because everybody's watching the game.
Yeah, everyone, yeah.
And all of a sudden, I hear a bunch of people cursing and swearing. I'm like, oh fuck, something bad happened. So I quick saw the replay when I got into the apartment. I was like, oh fuck, this is not good.
This is not good.
I texted you guys, but again, that was it. That's all.
31 unanswered. Like, I mean, they're just better. Like they're just better than the Broncos. Like
I mean,
I don't know.
they seemed desperate to me because that whole trick play with the special teams where they had the kicker throw the
Mhm.
ball, like they pulled that so
Well,
early in the game. I'm like,
Well, you don't
That's
run
what you
that.
have to do when you feel
Yeah.
the game's getting away from you and you know you're overmatched.
Yeah, you don't run that unless you think you're overmatched. And yeah.
and they played that in what, the first or
Or
second
you're
quarter?
Dan Campbell.
Would Dan Campbell run a field goal? He wouldn't. He would just have the offense on the field. What are we talking about? He would run
He
like
would have he'd have the offensive tackle playing at the punter spot
Yeah, what are we talking about?
and
He
run a
would
reverse
totally.
somehow that would work.
He would he would run like a reverse with like the pump, like the personal pump protector, and like the offensive tackle as a punter or something.
Props to Bo Nix. I thought that look, after
Are
that one play,
you being to be sarcastic? Okay, I
he,
was like, I
he
can't
didn't
wait.
really do a whole, but he also led the team in rushing. There was nothing going on. I
Yeah,
said that it would have to be Audric Estime. And so the Broncos, of course, decided, let's make the bastard inactive.
that's crazy.
So I as soon as I saw that, I texted one of my Broncos friends who actually went to the game in Buffalo.
Oh
And I
no.
said, and I sent him the it's gonna be Estime meme. And I said Estime inactive, Bills by 62. And
Well, I think that's a little crazy. But
I
yeah.
think we didn't quite get that far, but if the game had gone on for another quarter, maybe it would have, because I thought Josh Allen played the best out of any quarterback this weekend. I thought he had the most
People
dominant
try to
game.
downplay him all the time. They downplay
He is
all
our
his
Lord and
people.
Savior here in Buffalo. I mean,
Thank you.
they have banners of his face in the goddamn city.
He is your Lord and Savior
So it
because he
sounds a
is
lot
the
like
Lord and Savior of QB play.
I keep trying to tell people that Josh Allen is who people in North Carolina thought Cam Newton was.
That's fine. That I mean that
Because,
that take is a little absurd because Cam did win an MVP. I mean,
okay, but Josh Allen has also done something that Cam Newton has not done, and that is be consistent.
yeah, no, that's
Be
fair.
consistent.
That's
This is
100%
the
fair.
fifth straight year of Josh Allen being a top 5 quarterback at
Yeah,
minimum in the National
100%.
Football League. And I think Cam Newton has done that once, maybe twice in his
I
career.
think that's the knock on Cam is that he his peak might be as good as anyone else's. It's not the sustained success that Josh Allen has had, and that's like when I say people downplay him, like I just don't hear enough conversation about like is Josh Allen like oh like they won by 31 like are 31 unanswered points like they beat them like but they're better than the Broncos and it's like well Josh Allen is good. Like what are we doing? Like
But he's
Josh
also
Allen.
throwing the ball to Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir, the bones of Amari Cooper, because he's just doing nothing.
I think it'd be hilarious if you put the 2015 Panthers wide receiver core up against the Buffalo Bills
Hey,
2024
they have
wide
no one
receiver
as good
core.
as Greg Olson. I'll tell you that
No,
right
no, but
now.
that's kind of my point. Is like really the best players for the Bills in terms of receiving options are probably their tight ends. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of funny.
But James Cook also a big part of this team's success.
I don't want to
120
bring up
yards.
bad memories, Mitchell, but you made some terrible decisions in Dynasty
Yes,
with James
yes,
Cook.
I did. But at the same time, I also did add Kyron Williams, and I
Fair
traded
point.
for Chase Brown
Fair
at Nick.
point.
So I made up for it. But
Yeah, you
yes,
made up
that was
for
a
it.
very, very bad decision that I made. But James Cook, man, he's
Man,
he's
he's good.
really. Were you about to say he's cooking?
No. I wasn't gonna
Oh,
be.
okay.
I was trying to say like I could have seen it coming from like college days, but like not really. Like
Honestly,
he's so much better than he is like he was
my
in
new
college.
cooking show I want to see on the Cooking Network is James Cook and The Rock, called "What's the Cook Cooking?"
What's the cooking?
Or can you smell what Cook's cooking?
Can you smell what the cook is cooking?
That's going to be the NFL cooking show that we've all been waiting for.
All right. Well, speaking of cooking, what you could smell in Philadelphia was cheese burning because the
Wow.
Eagles get the win 22-10 over the Packers. Yeah, I know you liked how I
Well, thank
did that
God we
there.
weren't like the Philly fan that lost his job because he couldn't stop yelling abusive things to people in the stands. So you know,
Look,
Yeah.
I
at
think
least
it's
we're not that guy.
I think it's infamously
Pride
known
of
that
East
the
Brunswick,
Eagles,
New Jersey. I grew up close to there.
Oh,
So
okay.
you did
right,
too,
right
Tommy.
down,
I don't know
right
why I
down
said
the
that
road.
as if exclusive to me, but
Yeah, Mitchell and I lived about 15, 20 minutes from there.
yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
pride of the Brunswicks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or not really the
I,
pride of, but nothing was too proud for the Green Bay Packers. But I can't really hate on them too much.
No, yeah.
Jordan Love played really badly. I will say that. He played really badly, and this is
Was
after
that your? I think you can make an argument that he was worse than Herbert. Conversation.
no, that
Okay.
comes later.
Okay.
Jordan Love was bad, but Jordan Love is nowhere near as bad as Herbert because Jordan Love's looking around in the huddle like, who the fuck are you guys?
Yeah.
Like they had
keep
three
doing
offensive
this.
linemen
They
out
keep
at a
doing
point.
this. What are they
Romeo
doing?
Dobbs got hurt. Christian
Yeah.
Watson tore his ACL
It's
last
bad.
week. Jaden Reed got hurt.
They just cycle in dudes who just like I don't get it.
I just don't know what happened in this game because they made it to the red zone so many times, but they just could not get past.
That was the crazy part is
just
they
couldn't
were
get
so
past the
hurt.
Eagles defensive linemen. The Eagles held them so hard in the red zone.
It was the bend don't break type of mentality.
Yeah.
But
I can't remember if I told you this, Brandon, or if I told my dad, or both. I think if the Packers are fully healthy, and this is coming from someone who predicted the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. If the Packers are fully healthy, they might win that football game.
I mean,
because
it's crazy.
The Eagles offensively weren't really throwing a whole lot apart from Saquon at the end of the game, really kind of salting the game away.
Do you really want to get into the Eagles?
Their offense. The Eagles have the best defense this year, or the second best, I think, and they have Saquon Barkley as their offense.
They limit yards. They limit points. They let you get your yards, but at the end of the day, they don't break. And like, do you want to get into like scheme, Mitchell? Because like what Philly does with the passing game, like, isn't that special? It's not complicated.
No. It comes down to this. This game, the Eagles had a total of 290 yards. Saquon Barkley had 119 of those yards.
He should have had 200. Like what? Like they should have just ran the ball more. Like what?
Yeah, because you bet on him to get over 200. That's why you wanted it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think they just took it a little bit easy because they had such a lead until the third quarter.
Yeah.
Even still, they didn't go that hard.
Their team is one of the most talented teams in the NFL, but what they do offensively is not like complex. There's no like. We're gonna run the ball with Saquon, and then we're gonna set up the pass. Okay, you have to stop Saquon. Okay, now you've stopped Saquon. Well, now you're playing one-on-one outside with AJ Brown. Let's throw it over the top there. Yep. Okay, you got a one-on-one matchup with Devontae Smith and like the outside. Let's run like a quick slant and pick up yards. Like yak out of the quick slant. Like there's no like real complexity about what they're trying to do. They're trying to get you to stop the run, to then set up the one-on-one matchups, to then beat the one-on-one matchups because they have two guys who can do that. And that is their offense. Like I hate to like be that simplistic about it, but like that is their offense. And like yes, they run like certain counters and schemes out of that. And I do think like they can be successful doing that sometimes. But for the majority of the year, their offensive scheme is let's run the ball with Saquon to set up the one-on-one matchups and then take advantage of the one-on-one matchups. Like that is what we're trying to do.
Well, they didn't even really have to do that because they had the game in hand. AJ Brown on the sideline. If he finishes this book by the end of the fourth quarter,
one catch.
Class can get a pizza party.
Did I read that wrong? I'm looking at a session.
One catch for 10 yards.
One catch. Like what are we like?
They targeted him 3 times.
But that's my point.
AJ Brown.
That's my point. Is they basically were like, okay, well, I guess they're gonna take away AJ Brown, so we're just gonna keep like running the ball, and then we're just gonna hold on to the ball. Like we're so far like this is comfortable. Like we don't need to like show our hand in terms of like plays or something for like later on in the like we don't need to give the Lions anything on film. Like basically, let's just try to run the most basic zone offense we possibly can. In the run scheme, like I don't know.
Dominated the line of scrimmage all game long.
Yeah, they well, that's what they do. They bully teams in the line of scrimmage. Them and the Ravens line up and they just bully you. Like they just try to bully you up front. Yeah, I don't know. How are we feeling about the Packers? Because I mean, I like Dobbs.
I
I
feel
will take
fine.
back. I will take back what I said about the Packers receiving core a little bit. I like Dobbs a lot. I think Dobbs runs really good routes. I think he gets open. Do I think they have a number one receiver? No, but does that really matter
I'd
if you have
really
talent?
like for
Like
them
that's the
to.
problem.
I'd like for them to get a number one, be it in the draft or T. Higgins or whatever.
Man, if
And
they
I think
drafted a
that
one,
will,
it'd be sick. It'd be like, or
if they got Luther
even a
Burden,
1A, like a 1A, a 2. Yeah, Luther Burden would be a good one. Like,
pair him with Jaden Reed and Christian Watson,
and then
and
Dobbs is just your route runner in the slot, basically.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're
it's like,
golden.
yeah, I really like where they're kind of at with the receiving core. Do they have a run game? Like that's part of the problem. Like
Well, Josh Jacobs, absolutely,
I mean, sure, but
and their offensive line was banged up, so
yeah, that's fair. And I will say this, Tommy, you are right. They were in the red zone a lot, and they just did not score.
It's honestly that I wanted the Eagles to win, but I was just getting frustrated on behalf of the Packers. I'm like, you guys are there, just fucking get it.
Imagine if you're a Packers fan, you're there,
Like,
just put it
we
over
were
the
there
line.
so many times. I was just like, you guys have to get this in eventually. Like, Jesus.
Right.
well. Speaking of having to get it in eventually, where do you think I'm going with this? That's right, Washington has won a playoff game since 2005. They ended that streak on Sunday night in the game
great.
of the weekend.
As Mitchell said so many times, this will be the match of the weekend.
And I was correct. And I was also correct in picking the Washington Commanders. Don't pick against the rookie quarterback, they said. Why? I'm getting the better quarterback, the better coach, and the better team.
Oh my God.
Why are the Buccaneers favored? Commanders 23, Buccaneers 20. The final, Jaden Daniels. Best rookie quarterback that I have seen personally. 24 of 35.
In your lifetime?
In my lifetime, yes.
Okay.
Best rookie quarterback. I think
I can't even argue that. I mean, he's
part
been
of me
good.
thought Dak, but Dak kind of went into a
he was not asked to do the
situation.
stuff that Jaden is asked to do.
And before that, my answer would have actually been Robert Griffin III, the previous Washington rookie quarterback that led them to the playoffs. But Jaden Daniels, I think, has even surpassed what he was able to do. He's obviously been able to stay healthy. And in the playoffs, he was just a stone cold killer, as Jaden Daniels tends to be late in games. He just finds ways to win games. He finds those yards like Baker Mayfield. I think that if Baker had gotten the ball last, Tampa would have won this game. It came down to who had the ball last. Jaden Daniels got the ball, and it wasn't like he got it with 2.5 minutes left. He got it with about 4:50.
Man, they ran that 4-minute offense to perfection.
And he said, you're not getting this ball back. Right. 40 seconds left. Third, and I think it was 1 or 2 yards. Unblocked defensive line, then right in his face. Jaden Daniels, stiff arm, make a miss, get the first down, kick the field goal. That kicker was shitting his pants. He was messing with his hair. He knew it. Yeah, he was very nervous and nearly missed it, but he did doink it in, to the chagrin of Chicago Bears fans.
I think it's hilarious
everywhere.
Every time Mike Tirico brings up the goalpost is $1 wide. It turns in the window. I think it's great. But
it's a good bit.
You hold up $1 bill and you're like, oh man, he hit the other side. He hit the right side of the post. Yeah, it's funny. I guess the left side technically in this situation. But
your guy, Diami Brown, with the huge game.
God, Brown was a beast. This was the best game of his career.
It was a fantastic game. And Terry McLaurin and Brown both had 89 yards and a touchdown.
Mitchell, this is what he was doing at UNC. This is the stuff that when the Commanders got him, they were like, "Oh, he can
do this,
create separation, get open, do this." That's what he was doing. Yeah, I like his route running. I like his ability. Man, Kingsbury. It just feels like they scheme up 14 points. They scheme up 14. They're like, how can we get 14 points automatically? When you go into a game against the Commanders now, it's like you're down 14-0. I mean, I know that's not actually what's happening, but that's what it feels like. It feels like they're gonna get 14, and then Daniels is gonna give them another 14, and now you gotta score 4 touchdowns. That's kind of how I think about it in my head. I'm like, you should, to win a game against the Commanders, you got to score 4 or 5 touchdowns.
So you remember that pin that I put earlier?
What do you mean by pin?
When I put a pin in that top 5 quarterback
Oh
discussion?
yes. If you say Jaden Daniels is a top 5 QB, I won't even argue with you.
I think that Jaden Daniels is what mainstream media convinced y'all CJ Stroud was last year.
Why are you acting like we're some
When-
cult
when-
followers?
Yeah, let's put a tinfoil hat on. Jaden Daniels has listening devices in our cereal. No. But I'm just saying that Jaden Daniels to me is, when we talk about a rookie quarterback and already putting him up there like that,
Mhm.
I'm comfortable doing that
I
with
like
Jaden
Stroud,
Daniels.
though. I will not back off. I do like Stroud. But
I don't know if Stroud's a top 15 quarterback. I'll be 100% honest with you.
Okay.
I went through ranking the quarterbacks and I had him number 16. So
Okay, fair
it
enough.
is what it is. But I'm also a little higher on guys like Kyler than most other people.
Yeah,
But Jaden Daniels, just the dude finds a way to win games, and the playoffs, we've seen it make guys look worse. Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott, we've seen it. Jaden Daniels looked like the Jaden Daniels we saw all season long.
Yeah.
Nothing changed.
You know what they call playoff time, Mitchell? They call it nut crunching time. What do you do when it gets a little bit, thick in the air? When you're thinking about it a little too hard, like how do you
when your running backs combine 19 carries for 44 yards, they give you nothing.
That's acting like Austin Eckler. No, I'm just kidding. That's acting like Austin Eckler did absolutely nothing, which is true. He
did more than Brian Robinson did.
Yeah. Man,
they
Daniels
gave nothing, and Jaden Daniels. I think that, and we'll get to the conversation of how next game is going to go, but I think Jaden Daniels is going to continue to play very well.
His superpower is his ability to process the field. It really is. Like, his superpower is the ability post snap and pre snap to process the field, and then by the way, he has the ability to extend the play with his legs if he has to, and pick up yards, and that's what makes him awesome. Tommy, I was gonna ask, are you on the top 5 QB train with Daniel?
I will hop on board that train.
Thank you. Okay, we will.
Chugga.
I feel like
choo.
other arguments for like top 5 QBs like Kurtz and Dak Prescott or wherever you want to go with it.
I have simply learned my lesson this far in life to just not argue when Mitchell has a strong point, because you're not going to.
Oh, okay.
Especially when it comes to football, because I do not know nearly enough to even come up with a counterpoint to his argument.
My whole argument, or not even argument.
I can see someone has succeeded with marriage.
Is that what we're comparing this to? I will say, I just think with Daniels, it's a little bit different. Like, really, the only concern I had about him coming out was like, would he stay healthy? And like he kind of has. Like, outside of the
for me, it was the middle of the field and throwing in the middle of the field. But he does that so well on the pro.
He put that to rest. He throws in between the numbers better than most people.
There was a big 4th down or 3rd down in that game, and I'm like, oh no, he's gonna find Terry McLaurin somewhere in the middle. And I think it was Diami Brown that he got the ball to.
I don't know if it was
right in the middle of the
game. Yeah,
congested. Looked great.
I don't know if it was first play of the game, but it was early in the game. They basically set up, and they were like, "Yeah, let's take a shot fade route down the field." Like, they basically
McLaurin. It was a great throw.
They basically came out and they were like, okay, so we're just gonna show you that, we got this, basically. Like, this is us. And like, I love what they've been doing. I wonder if Kingsbury is gonna get a head coaching job again, because
he has earned it.
He's been really,
by the way,
really good.
Baker Mayfield, if Buccaneers fans were told 15 for 18, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, they think, oh, shoot, we won that game early, and we just milked the clock in the second half.
That's not what.
Not the case. They lost the game, and hot take, and maybe this is just the old Jets Mitchell coming out.
No, Mitchell.
Todd Bowles should no longer be employed by the Tampa
Oh
Bay
my
Buccaneers
god.
because he is great when it comes to scheme. He's a fantastic defensive coordinator. Ask Patrick Mahomes in 2020 in that Super Bowl. Made a top 3 quarterback of all time his bitch. But as far as a head coach goes and knowing things like, hey, when should I call my timeouts? I don't know if I've ever seen anyone worse than Todd Bowles, apart from maybe like Eberflus. Like, he's legendarily bad at clock management.
He needs a guy. He needs a guy who is strictly
a guy to be the head coach while he's the defensive coordinator.
No. He needs a clock management guy. I don't know how much that guy would make.
Call him head coach.
He needs a clock management guy is what he needs. I will say his defensive scheme. I mean, the stuff he does defensively, it's just like he.
No answer.
But like they couldn't do anything against Jane Daniels. They were like you kind of had to play it the way they were playing it, and like Jane Daniels just did enough to win. Like, I mean, that's what it comes down to.
So I have to make a quick segue based on Mitchell's making someone your bitch line. Let me just talk about what I think was the play of the weekend. And that was Dallas Goedert's drive with the 2 stiff arms to Carrington downtime.
That was nasty.
That was the funniest shit and the greatest drive I have
seen.
He
put a guy in the ground twice, basically.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I thought that was fantastic. And obviously we all chatted about it on
legally own that man's house now. Congratulations.
Yes. You can now move in like a squatter and take his house.
He just has his bags. He's like, what the hell are you doing here? It's my house, you bitch. What? Get out.
He's just
leave.
squatting.
What are you doing here? This is my house.
He's squatting in his house.
Yeah.
Like later, he's like, I live here now. This is my
speaking of squatting in someone's house, Sam Darnold squatting in the role as NFL starting quarterback.
Did you see the meme, Mitchell, where it was Jesse Plemons? It was Jesse Plemons.
Yes, I did. Rams 27, Vikings 9. This is one again. I talked about it. I had the devil and the angel on the shoulder, and it's like, you've watched these 2 teams all year. Clearly, the Vikings are going to win. And it's like, yeah, but you saw the way Sam Darnold played against the Lions, and you know that guy.
He's still the Vikings QB, right? Like,
no, he's gone. No.
Oh,
the way Kevin O'Connell talked about it after the game.
Mitchell, you 4 weeks ago, you said how could they possibly move on from him?
This isn't Mitchell's opinion talking.
This is
Kevin O'Connell. Let me give you the exact verbiage that he said about Sam Darnold.
I need this.
I think that can stay with him moving forward. Sam and that journey him and I went on will always be something that's a special place in my heart. Does that sound like someone that's coming back next year?
That sounds like someone who it's going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler.
That sounds like, all right, JJ McCarthy time. Yeah. That's what it sounds like to me, because
you know what that sounds
if there was a quarterback that could compete with Herbert for the worst playoff performance, it's Sam Darnold. This is the same guy that I saw last week against the Lions, and the same guy that I saw in 2018, 19, and 20 for the New York Jets. And Brandon, you're familiar with the old rat bastard himself from 2021 and 2022. You look at the stats, you go 25
I put that on that rule. I put that on that
25 40, 245 yards, a touchdown, interception. Not great, but hey, that's not awful. But you just watch the guy, and he got sacked 9 times, and the offensive line wasn't playing that badly. The Rams schemed up pressure, but most of those sacks were Sam Darnold doing what Sam Darnold does, holding on to the ball for way too damn long, to the point where I sent you Paul Allen, who's just an amazing radio announcer, best in the league for the Minnesota Vikings, yelling.
That call was awesome.
Throw the ball, man.
I mean, if we're talking about the most biased booth in sports, it's the Vikings.
Yeah, but it has given us some all-time great moments, particularly for the Vikings in the playoffs, because they know how to break their fans' hearts. And boy, Sam Darnold just turning, into a pumpkin at the worst possible time for the Vikings. I think it's McCarthy next year for Minnesota. I think that's unquestioned.
So where you got Sammy Dots going? Pittsburgh?
I don't know if Pittsburgh's going to throw the money at Sam, because I do think Sam Darnold is going to take on a little bit of a contract. I think that there's
should. I mean, I think he's earned it outside of these 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Really, I mean, he's played bad 3 weeks out of the whole year. It's looked terrible. But
his options might be a little bit limited.
You know what? Let Miami take
maybe the Raiders.
If Miami got him and just let
Tua, he can fill in.
See, this is where I'm confused by the Tua situation. If Tua was just to like up and like stop playing football, are they on the hook for that money? I don't think they are.
I don't know.
And I maybe that's why Tua continues to try to play, because
I mean,
not only does he love football, but he probably likes the money that he's getting.
I don't know all the behind the scenes,
because I don't think it's fully guaranteed. That's the problem. Yeah, that's the thing.
But honestly, with how injured he got, I would be shocked if they didn't do offer him some sort of deal saying, "Hey, if you want to retire now, we'll pay the rest of your
half contract. Of it off or something, or 75% of it or something like that."
Yeah, I would not be surprised if they would have done that.
Hey, not to turn this into like a
probably wouldn't be as bad as if he actually got killed or something worse and there was a lawsuit.
Yeah. I wasn't trying to turn that into like but like the whole, like if we put Darnold in Miami with that talent, they're pretty good. Like I don't know. Like
I don't know about that offensive line, because the whole thing with Tua is he gets rid of the ball quickly, and Darnold holds on to it for way too long.
Okay, but Mitchell, I will point this out. If you listen to anybody who knows anything about NFL evaluation, like QBs, scouts, talent evaluation, whatever, Daniel Jeremiah, Todd McShay, Mel Kiper, whoever you want to pick, like just pick whoever it is. Chris Sims, like pick whoever you want to pick for QBs.
But
Ryan Fitzpatrick, like breaks down QBs pretty well. All these guys talk about Sam Darnold as like the Jets and the Panthers are just stupid. He's too talented not to be this good. Like everyone who talks about him,
there's a mental aspect to it that he just can't quite get.
Yeah, I look, I'm with you. I think there kind of is a little bit of a mental aspect there.
He's extremely talented. He can make every throw on the football field. But
at the same time, I think that could be the Miami Dolphins' answer for Tyreek Hill, because Hill was amazing at getting away and getting open for Tua to throw to, but Tua just stopped throwing the ball. So if Hill had a quarterback that could actually throw to him, I think that would give him
make all those throws. Oh my god! I think
that would give him his spark back and be like, I will get open
and make all those throws.
That happens with Tyreek Hill. When the Dolphins trade him to the Washington Commanders this offseason, and you get Jaden Daniels.
That's amazing. But Mitchell, my whole point with Sammy Dots is people talk about him.
I came up with that nickname.
I know. It was a good
nearly
name.
8 years ago. Holy crap.
He literally throws dots.
He's capable of it.
Mitchell, I refuse to be like wrong about him. He's too talented to have that be his defining legacy in like NFL and playoff football. When it gets down to it, I just hold the ball too long and I don't make the right decision. Like, he's too good. He's too good to have that be what I refuse to believe it. I think he's going to go somewhere and be really good next year.
I will ask a question, and this is kind of all we'll talk about with the Rams before we get to the games for this coming week. There is a song on Kanye West and Jay-Z's album Watch the Throne. It's the only song on the album that I cannot name without losing my job. But Kanye West repeats the line, "Don't let me get in my zone." Have we let Matt Stafford get in his zone? Because he's capable of going on a run when he's in his zone. And
don't let me into my
for
zone.
The first little bit of that game, Man, he looked like he was in his zone, and it was fun to watch.
So he was in his zone. They schemed up 14 points, like I said. Yeah, Sean McVay just doing Sean McVay things. It almost seems like
Puka.
you're guaranteed a touchdown early with Sean McVay, and then out of the halftime break,
I
Sean
like all
McVay is
these teams that
gonna
start with
cook it.
you start with 10 points, you start with 14
I like
points.
it.
Like,
Yeah, that's what it is. It is. Yeah.
all right,
No, but
Tommy, do
I
you
just
think the
think
Rams are in their zone?
McVay. Yeah, I just
I
think
think so.
McVay. That's fair, Mitchell. My whole point was I just think McVay, like he makes the halftime adjustments needed to like, especially when like he's trying to win a game. Which again, maybe I'm being too naive with that, but yeah. To answer your question, Mitchell, the Rams are in the zone.
All right.
How much in
Let's
the zone are they though, Mitchell? Do you just want to transition to the next?
Well, we will find out in the divisional round, starting with Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Houston Texans against the two-time defending champion, the Kansas City Chiefs. The line is the Chiefs favored by 8 points, and I will say right now that I am expecting a Chiefs win, and I think the Texans cover that line.
Wow.
My guess for the game would be Chiefs. I think this is low scoring. Chiefs 17, Texans 13.
Okay. Okay. I'm not giving you a score prediction. I just think the Chiefs are going to put the hammer down.
Oh, you think you think they cover?
I think this is the Chiefs real recognize real, and I don't think the Texans are real enough to recognize what the Chiefs are about to do.
I think this is going to be a very close game, but I think the Chiefs are going to hold on just to make it a close game and not go all out because we all know they're going to be saving their energy for either the Ravens or the Bills that following week. Because that's
I think that might get them. I don't think they're going to lose this game, but I think that because I do think there's a little bit of that, and I think that might make the game a little closer than it needs to be.
So
because
my whole thing with that
they know the
is
Texans are a threat because the Texans came close to beating them a couple weeks ago, but I don't think they're going to bring the hammer down because they want to keep everybody healthy that following week.
I think they're tired of the discourse around them. Like, oh, they barely win games. Like, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't know. I just
They
have a gut
probably are,
feeling.
but at the same time, they're still winning those games.
No, yeah, I'm with you. I will say this: do you when you say like they're holding something back? Is it like play calling wise? Do you think they're gonna like hold some stuff back? Like they probably knowing Andy Reid,
I think it's going
he
to be one of those,
probably
if
has
they have a
stuff
lead.
in that he knows the Bills would like fall for from
I
like the
think
last time they
they're
played.
going to hold the Texans to a one-score game. It's going to be very close. I think the Texans will probably have one last ditch effort towards the end of the game, bring it to like a field goal,
and then Mahomes is gonna.
and then Chiefs are going to hold it just enough to keep the win.
Because Mitchell, I was shocked with this. Some people would argue that when you were talking about QB rankings and like who's who, some people would argue that Patrick Mahomes isn't the number one QB anymore. I think that's dumb. I think
Those people are morons.
But those people are morons. Thank you for being so blunt. But my whole point is, I just think Mahomes. I just can't. I don't see a world where Stroud is going to win this game, and I don't want to make this like a QB versus QB battle, but like for them to win this game, Stroud is going to have to ball out, and I
agree. I think that Stroud is going to need to play like he did last year against Cleveland, and I just don't know if he can do that against this particular defense.
Yeah,
night game on Saturday: Commanders at Lions. Now this is a 9.5 point
That's
spread.
A crazy
so
line.
And it's a 55.5 over under. Brandon, what's the thing about poetry?
Like IQs? Like what are we talking about? Like,
it rhymes.
Like rhythm? Like rhyming scheme, Mitchell, rhyme scheme.
The Detroit Lions back in 2011 when they had Matthew Stafford and they made the playoffs for the first time in quite some time. They played the New Orleans Saints, and Drew Brees was having this incredible season, and it was their first game in that playoffs. And the Saints won that game like 51-28. But Stafford looked good. Calvin Johnson looked good. The Lions played really well, but they were just really outmatched. I think that's the Lions this week, except they're on the other end of it. I think Jaden Daniels comes out and plays a really great game. Offense just goes off, but the Lions might score 50. I've got Lions 45, Commanders 30 in this game. This is a very high scoring game. I think Jaden Daniels impresses a lot of people. There's a lot of people like, I can't wait to see what that kid does next year when they give him more talent around him. But the Lions just have too much going on.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah, I don't want to break this down too much. I think the Lions are just going to score. I'm with you, Mitchell.
All right, that's simple.
Yeah.
Do you think they cover?
I mean, I kind of want to give Jaden and Kingsbury and that offense credit. I think they score too. And this isn't like Lions defense is bad. That Lions defense is banged up. I think there's a different discussion when you have like backups playing everywhere, and that's not entirely what's happening with the Lions. But there's a lot of backups in the game, and yeah, I'm gonna go with closer game. I don't know if it's 45. I'd say like 38 to 31, something like that. I think 9.5 is a little too generous. I would also say the same thing about the national championship game in college football. I think that 9.5 is a little too generous.
Yeah, I think Notre Dame's going to play them really close.
So I think that's where I'm at with Commanders Lions. I do like the Lions, and I think they're going to score like 38, 41 points, but I think the Commanders keep it within a touchdown. And Jaden probably has a chance to drive late and just can't do it. Is kind of what we're probably looking at. Or he drives late and then Goff kind of like milks the clock with Gibbs and stuff like that. I really could see that being a thing.
All right. Sunday night, or rather Sunday afternoon, Rams.
So we don't have a Monday night game? Thank God,
No.
No. Just Saturday.
Rams.
Because heaven forbid the
Eagles,
NFL would make 2 triple headers. Yeah.
Eagles minus 6.5. Last time Saquon Barkley played the Los Angeles Rams. Brandon, would you like to know what happened on that day?
Yeah, you can tell me because I remember that day vividly as a Saquon Barkley fantasy owner.
Saquon Barkley had 26 carries for 255 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had 4 receptions for 47 yards. And you want me to think that they discovered the key to stopping him overnight? No, I do not believe that. Eagles 28, Rams 20.
Do I just keep pushing the Saquon over 200 yards narrative the entire play?
I think you should.
Yeah, I think I should.
He had his only 200-yard game of the year against this team on the road last time. So if there's a time to do it, this might be the time to do it.
I think the Eagles are going to bring the Saquon hammer down on the Los Angeles Rams, and it's going to be an ugly, ugly game.
Yeah, I like the Rams defense a little, but not enough. It's just do they have the big uglies up front to stop the zone, inside zone, outside zone? I don't see it. I think they're going to lean. Cover? Oh yeah, I think the Eagles.
They're going to lean on them.
Yeah, they're gonna lean on them, Mitchell. I'm gonna keep using that.
You said lean on them about 5 different times regarding the Eagles last time.
No, I mean Mitchell. That's what you do. When you run in zone, you just lean on them a little.
You lean on them. All right, yeah. Well, the game that everyone's looking forward to is the 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for all of you. I live on the West Coast.
This is the reason the city of Buffalo
will say
that
West
Monday
Coast
holiday, because the entire city is going to be either celebrating on Monday or they're going to be in mourning.
Right. I will say West Coast watching football. I could imagine that is like peak life. Yeah.
Ravens. The Bills opened up as 1.5 point favorites. The Ravens are now 1 point favorites in this game. And look, everyone just kind of sees this as kind of the semifinals before you play Patrick Mahomes. But Lamar versus Josh Allen, whoever loses this game is going to have a lot of questions to answer about, well, you couldn't even get past this other one. Surely you're not going to be able to beat Mahomes. Like, the questions are just going to keep mounting, whereas the winner, yeah, it's a nice win, but at the same time, go take care of your own personal, Goliath over there.
Yeah, this is the game of the year for the Bills. And
Game of the year.
oh yeah, dude, the entire city of Buffalo is like on edge. We are hyped up. It is crazy town energy going on right now. Like everybody's getting ready for the game.
My type of place.
I think this is gonna be like the Commanders Bucks game where it's gonna come down to the wire. It's gonna be.
You can call your shot. You can call it doink. Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. Like I don't have that much faith in Tyler Bass as much as other people do. I still don't like him. But that being said, I think the biggest challenge is going to be getting past that Ravens defense, because the Ravens defense is phenomenal at stopping the run game, and that is something that Josh Allen loves to do, is run the ball. And I think they're going to put him in this place, but he's going to find a way to get around it.
Mitchell, can I offer you some run scheme QB run talk real quick?
Go for it.
I think there's going to be a lot of QB smash, a lot of QB GT this game. I think they're going to pull the guard and the tackle outside a little bit and get a little nasty with it. You know what I mean?
So what you're saying is they're going to lean on good quarterback run play in this game?
Yeah, probably.
Nice. I like it when you lean on things.
Mitchell, I will say, I think if we're talking QBs that run the football, Cam Newton, you mentioned Cam earlier. Cam Newton and Josh Allen are like in a different category than a lot of other people. Maybe Anthony Richardson is in this bucket, but when I need 8 yards, when I need 7 yards, I'm putting the ball in that guy's hands, and everyone else is getting the fuck out of the way.
Did you just mention Anthony Richardson on a playoff podcast? I know you didn't just do that.
QB run game wise, Anthony Richardson, runs over.
I mean, sure, but come on, man. We're in the playoffs now.
No, that's fair.
No one's tapping out like, ow, my spleen is a little dinged up.
That's a little rude, but I will say this. Tommy's bringing up
a lot of things.
Yeah, I've said a lot. Tommy's bringing up Josh Allen loves to run the ball. Tommy, we might get like a Josh Allen over the top, like Cam Newton type score at some point in this game. Like we're talking conference championship Arizona. Maybe you remember that diving Superman play, Mitchell, where he goes over the top and scores a touchdown.
Honestly,
I can see that from Josh Allen this week.
That is
Josh Allen does not get
around the Ravens defense, because the Ravens defense loves to stop the run game.
Yeah, but it's hard to account for the QB. Not to get too into the scheme, but like
the Ravens know that's what Josh Allen loves to do.
Okay, so we're gonna put another guy in the box.
The game.
I put a guy in the box. Yeah, he picked the Bills.
What about you, Brandon?
This is on me. Bills. God, I shouldn't have said that.
All right. So then I get to be the guy. I get to be the guy that says the Buffalo Bills, this is a giant game for them. And it will end similarly to how their giant game against Kansas City ended last year, with the fans going home going, maybe next year will be the season that we do it. I think the Ravens win this game 24-20. I don't think it comes down to Tyler Bass, but I think that Josh Allen intercepted on the final drive of the game by Kyle Hamilton. I think that's how the game ends. 24-20.
Wild prediction.
I need to look at my prediction before the playoffs. Was I Bills, Chiefs?
Doesn't matter. You picked the Bills. No, you're not taking it back now. I'm not letting you.
It is cemented. You were.
You were
Bills.
I was Bills Chiefs. I'm not going to move from that. But Lamar Jackson scares me. That dude is very good at football.
Props to you for also taking the Rams. So,
well,
God knows I wasn't doing that. So, all right.
I told you they get 10 points out of halftime.
Hey, they got even more than that. And Sam Darnold was stuck at 9, so they already lost the game. Guys, that's going to wrap up our divisional round preview and our wild card review next week. Are the Bills happy? Are the Chiefs done? Is Jaden Daniels dancing into the NFC Championship game? Have more Eagles fans said things to make them lose their jobs? All of that and more next week as we count down the days till the Super Bowl. Y'all have a blessed afternoon and watch some fantastic football. as well as the college football final, I think the Buckeyes win, but that's just me, and I don't know shit. Y'all have a lovely day.